Tag division. So the big story of the month, Trio K are basically your number one contenders, and AMW and Triple X are doing a best of 3 series to determine the next contenders after that. That's the big tag team story this month. And again, we said earlier, you would think, yeah, just throw Triple X and AMW out there to have a bunch of matches. But those matches weren't great, so...
I guess like part of it was they were trying to save it for the last one. But when you go into that last match and you know that it's going to be some bullshit draw, like you just know. Because I knew. I was watching and I was like, this is going to be some draw and they're going to go do another thing. And watching that, it just means that you don't care about anything that's going on, you know? You're like, how can I care about any of these matches when I know that it's going to end in some bullshit that isn't just a straight up win?
Yeah, and the worst part is, like, the first match was best because it was just no bullshit. They went out there, had a match and wrestled. There was 2 good tag teams having a good tag team match, and it was a good tag team match. Yeah. And then, like, the specter of the story could just kind of hung over the rest of it because that match ended with Daniels hurting his shoulder and Skipper was mad that they were, like, too aggressive in the match or whatever. And then the second match was just a decent match, building around the story of the shoulder, but they pulled out a cradle for the win. And then, as you said, third match between the 2 teams, you could feel it in your bones, couldn't you?
Yeah. I think they got sick of it too.
Yeah, so Harris pushed Daniels into the ref in the third match. The Naturals ran out, laid out both teams, causing a no contest. They did the classic thing that if there is no winner, there is no contenders. But then Larry Z comes out and he says, no. There will be a sudden death match on Impact with the Naturals banned from ringside. And then the winners next Wednesday will face the Naturals. James Storr was injured in the final match of the best of 3, so he couldn't compete in the match on Impact. So that ended up being a Christopher Daniels versus Chris Harris singles match to determine who would face the Naturals.
Which is stupid.
But that also went to a time limit draw.
Yeah. Which was then deemed a draw.
Yeah, this whole system in TNA, that if there is a draw, you have a judge on hand to make the decision. They did have a judge on hand. It was Larry Zbyszko. Larry comes out and he's like, guys, I can't decide. It's going to be a triple threat on the pay-per-view. Larry...
You had one job, Larry.
One. He's there for one reason, just to go you or you, and he couldn't decide.
I did like they worked that match super evenly at least. So like at least they gave them a reason for it.
I think ultimately what we're learning is Triple X shouldn't be baby faces.
No, they're much better heels. I mean, also it's like, can you blame them for kind of phoning it in towards the end? Like, who could possibly care about doing this match 5 times in a row, and then having that stupid finish to the whole like thing? They did it in a singles match. Like, fuck off.
It's not even like the, you know what, we're just going to throw you in 3 matches, go kill it. Which is like, it's what I'd do. As opposed to throw them in 3 matches. They have one pretty good one, and then the rest are story nonsense, going to draws with the Naturals, going to time limit draws to set up triple threat matches. It's just, who's that for? You know? Who's that for? Who's like...
And what does it serve?
I want my Triple X and AMW match to be full of bullshit. Like, who are you serving then, as you said? Who, like, you put the 2 best teams in the company in the ring, but you also handicap them in every way that you can. It's like, who is that for?
Yeah.
The Naturals barely do anything this month. They set up that match with Trio K that ends in a DQ after there's a bunch of Dusty nonsense. And that's basically the only other thing the Naturals do this month?
The Naturals are just there, but like not doing anything.
Like they're just hanging around. They're doing the odd promo. Like, do they have a single other match this month? I don't think they... Oh, they do. They have the one against Mikey Batts and Jarrell Clark on Impact.
Ooh.
Which, like, it's a fun idea that it's the first time the Jobbers beat the Stars. Like, 3LK caused the distraction when the Naturals are about to hit the Naturals disaster, which
it's
allowed...
building to a 3LK match.
That's the problem, yeah. So Batts rolls up Douglas. Naturals lose to Jarrell Clark and Mikey Batts.
When are Jarrell Clark and Mikey Batts getting their titles?
Yeah, that's a good point. It'd probably be better than the 3LK match.
Because that's what I thought it was going to build to. I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. I'm ready for it.
But yep, Naturals do pretty much absolutely nothing for the rest of the month. They just stand around, occasionally cutting promos.
Cool. It's just like I got into the Naturals. Like I just finally was like, yep, the Naturals are good. And then they're like, oh, let's not book them.
Yep.
Let's do nothing with them and then book them against 3LK.
The only thing they do is wrestle the Tree Life Crew.
So I don't know.
Yeah, that's your tag team stuff for the month. There's also a country whipping match on the first show of the month between AMW and Team Canada to blow off the Team Canada costing them the cage match against the Naturals. Match is fine. Nothing special. That's the entire one. There's nothing to say. Like, usually, I mentioned this to Liam before we recorded. Usually, on top of the show notes, I usually have, like, 30 or 40 or 50 different notes the things that actually happened on these shows, you know, like little tidbits, it's cool moves in the match, or funny things in promos, or something Mike and Don might have said on commentary, or little thoughts I had inspired by this. And I'm just sitting here looking like there's nothing. Modest still doesn't have lyrics. I didn't bring that up. The song sucks without lyrics.
Modest to the top.
It's just a and they, for some reason, there's a bunch of beatdown angles that they play Modest all the way through. Really annoying. Bad song. But like, that's it. That's it. I have no notes this month. Nothing happened in these matches. Nothing happened on these shows. That's your takeaway from August 04. Don't watch it. Nothing happened.
Now, listen to Garrett of the past and just skip it.
Yeah, I was so right. I was so right not to watch these shows because they were super boring heading into like May, June, July, and I was like, I couldn't be bothered finishing these. Like, there's just nothing going on. They're not worth finishing, and I'm vindicated in my not bothering to sit through these boring ass wrestling shows.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be cool if we could skip months.